Hello everyone. In this class we are going to solve a problem that is related to GST, means how to pass the journal entries under GST. In the last two classes I have explained about the journal entries that are passed under GST. Please watch that class and after that solve this problem. So let's look at the problem. See, record necessary journal entries assuming CGST at 5% and SGST 5% and all transactions are occurred within Delhi. Within Delhi means what? This whole problem that is related to intrastate transactions, means all the transactions that are occurred within Delhi. In that first one, that is Shobit bought goods rupees 1 lakh on credit. So this transaction that is related to purchase. What is the journal entry for purchase under intrastate transactions here? The journal entry for purchases under intrastate transaction is purchases account debtor, input CGST account debtor, input SGST account debtor to creditors or cash account. This is the entry for purchases under intrastate transaction. Second entry, he sold them for rupees 1,35,000 in the same state on credit. Means now we have to pass the journal entry that is related to sales under intrastate transactions. So the journal entry is debtors account debit to sales account to output CGST account to output SGST account. Here for sales, to output CGST account will come, and for purchase, input CGST account is and SGST account is to be debited. Next one, he paid for railway transport rupees 8,000. It means what? This is the transaction that is related to expenses. He paid for railway transport. Means we can write here transport charges account debtor, input CGST account debtor, input SGST account debtor to cash or bank account. Next one, he bought computer printer for rupees 10,000. Means again the entry that is related to purchase. See, journal entry is purchase account, means computer printer account debtor, input CGST account debtor, input SGST account debtor to creditors or cash account, and paid postal charges that is rupees 2,000. Means this transaction is related to expenses. See, postal charges account debtor, input CGST account debtor, input SGST account debtor to cash or bank account. Okay, this is the problem. Now we will solve the problem. Okay, so this is the format of journal. See here, journal in the books of Shobit, date, particulars, ledger folio, debit amount and credit amount. See, in the question they have not given the date, so just we will put the numbers. Okay, so first one, that is related to purchase, means Shobit bought goods rupees 1 lakh on credit. So the entry is purchase account debtor, input CGST account debtor, input SGST account debtor to creditors, because Shobit purchased the goods on credit, to creditors account. What is the value of goods? That is rupees 1 lakh. And CGST rate that is rupees 5% and SGST also 5%. So 1 lakh into 5%. See here. 1 lakh into 5%, that is rupees 5,000. And input SGST also 5,000. So creditors rupees 1 lakh 10,000. See here, it means what? Input GST. Input GST means what? that is paid on purchases. See, this 1,10,000, it is the purchase value inclusive of GST. It means business means Shobit has to pay rupees 1,10,000, that is inclusive of GST, to the supplier. Fine. Now we will write down the narration. Being goods bought on credit. Now we will underline only particular column. And next, second transaction, that is C. Now he sold them, he sold the goods for rupees 1,35,000 in the same state on credit. Means here the journal entry that is related to sales. So the entry is debtors account debit to sales account to output SGST account to output CGST account. So first we will write down the sales value, that is rupees 1,35,000. Sales value, that is the credit balance, that is rupees 1,35,000. Now the output SGST is 1,35,000 into 5%, that is rupees 6,000 here, 6,750. Output CGST also 6,750. So total debtors account plus 6,750 plus, that is rupees 1,48,500. It means what? Under sales, output SGST and output CGST will come. It means what? This amount that is collected on sales, this rupees 1,48,500, it is inclusive of GST. But here the collected tax means this 6,750 plus 6,750 means rupees 13,500, that is not belong to the business. Okay, out of rupees 1,48,500, rupees 13,500, that is not related to the or not does not belong to the business, and that must be paid to the government. Business must pay to the government. Now we will write down the narration. Being goods sold on credit. Now third transaction, that is he paid for railway transport, that is rupees 8,000, means the journal entry that is related to expenses. So what is the journal entry for expenses under intrastate transactions? He paid for railway transport. It means we will take it as transport charges. Third entry, transport charges account debtor input CGST account debtor input SGST account debtor to bank account, or we can write cash also, to bank account. So the transport charges means railway transport that is rupees 8,000. Rupees 8,000. And what is the input CGST? 8,000 into 5%, that is rupees 400. Input SGST also 400. So the to bank account. It means the total of 8,000 plus 400 plus 400, that is rupees 8,800. So now we will write down the narration. Being transport charges paid. Now next one, that is fourth one. He bought computer printer for rupees 10,000. He bought means the entry that is related to purchases. So what is the entry for purchases? Computer printer account debtor, input CGST account debtor, input SGST account debtor to here computer printer, that is not on credit, means we can write cash account, to cash account. Computer printer, that is rupees 10,000. And what is the input CGST? 10,000 into 5% means 500. Here also 500. It means, so credit balance, that is rupees 11,000. Fine. Being computer printer bought. Now last entry, that is fifth one. Particulars, ledger folio, debit amount and credit amount. Okay, so fifth entry, paid postal charges, that is rupees 2,000, means this entry that is related to expenses. So postal charges, that is rupees 2,000. Fifth one, postal charges account debtor, input CGST account debtor, input SGST account debtor to bank account. Postal charges, that is rupees 2,000. That is rupees 2,000. And 2,000 into 5% means 100. Input SGST also 100. Means credit balance, that is rupees 2,200. Being paid for postage. Okay. Now the last entry, that is payment of GST to the government. That is payment of GST to the government. Now we have to calculate the total amount of GST that is payable to the government. Okay, so in the last class I have explained that input GST used to set off against the output GST. Input GST means what? We paid on purchases. And output GST means what? That is business collected from the customers. But that is not belong to the business and must be paid to the government. Okay. See, input GST means what? That is tax paid on purchases. That is input GST. And output GST means tax collected from the customers on sales. That is the output GST. So, now here first we will calculate the total input GST. We will do the calculations here. Calculation of payment of GST to the government. See, first we will calculate the total input GST. Total input GST, because we are using the input GST to set off against the output GST. Input GST, that is equals to, see the problem now. See here. Input GST, see here. First we will calculate the input, total input CGST. Okay. That is here. In purchases, input CGST will come. That is rupees 5,000. And next one under transport charges, that is rupees 400. And computer printer, that is rupees 500. And in postal charges, that is rupees 100. So, total input CGST is 5,000 plus 400 plus 500 plus 100. So, total that is rupees 6,000. Total input CGST is rupees 6,000. See, total input CGST is rupees 6,000. And total input SGST. Total input SGST is, see here, total input SGST, that is rupees 5,000 plus 400 input SGST, and under computer, purchase of computer printer, input SGST 500, and in postal charges, input SGST is rupees 100. So, 5,000 plus 400 plus 500 plus 100 equals to rupees 6,000. This is the total input CGST and total input SGST. Now, we have to calculate the total output CGST. Total output CGST means collected on sales by the business. The GST that is collected by the business on sale. See here. Total output CGST is CGST 6,750. Only one. Total output CGST, that is rupees 6,750. And total output SGST, that is also rupees 6,750. Now we have we have to calculate the net GST payable to the government. First one, that is net CGST. Net CGST, that is equals to, see here, total input CGST 6000 and total output CGST is 6750. Input CGST 6000 and total output CGST is 6750. Means what we have to do? The input GST means CGST, that is used to set off against the output CGST. Input CGST is used to set off against the output CGST. Means it is nothing but output CGST minus input CGST. Input CGST, that is equals to rupees output CGST 6750 minus 6000, that is equals to rupees 750. So net CGST that is payable to the government, that is rupees 750. Now we'll see the net SGST payable to the government. So here I will do net SGST is equals to output SGST minus input SGST. Output SGST 6750 and input SGST, that is rupees 6000, means 750, means net SGST that is payable to the government, that is rupees 750 and net CGST is 750 and net SGST is 750, means total 750 plus 750, that is equals to how much? That is rupees 1500. That is rupees 1500. Business has to pay the amount of rupees 1500 to the government. Now we will pass the journal entry. This journal entry related to the GST that is payable to the government. Output CGST account debtor, output SGST account debtor to input CGST account to input SGST account and to bank account, or we can write electronic cash ledger account, to electronic cash ledger account, or we can write to bank account also. Okay, so see here the output CGST, see here 6750. Sorry, not in the ledger folio. Be careful in the exam also. See, debit 6750 and output SGST, that is also 6750. 6750. Now input CGST. Input CGST is, see here, input CGST, that is rupees 6,000. And input SGST, that is also rupees 6,000. Okay, input CGST and input SGST, that is also rupees 6,000. Now electronic cash ledger account or bank account. Okay, see here, the output GST means including central and state, that is greater than the input GST. See here, the output GST is rupees 6,750 plus 6,750, that is rupees 13,500. And here input GST is 12,000, that is rupees 12,000. When the output GST it is greater than the input GST, the net GST that is payable to the government means 12,000, here 6,750 plus 6,750, that is rupees 13,500 minus 12,000, that is rupees 1,500, that is net GST that is payable to the government. See, here also we get that is rupees 1,500. This is the calculation of payment of GST to the government. See here, and next part, this one. This is the first part and this is the next one. So now we will write down the narration. Being GST set off and balance paid. Balance paid. So sometimes what happens, if the output GST that is less than the input GST, it results an excess input tax credit. So in that case what we have to do? So the excess input tax credit, it can be carried forward to the next tax period to adjust against the future tax liabilities. Fine, if there is an excess input tax credit, we can be carried forward to the next tax period to adjust against the future tax liabilities. And when the output GST that is greater than the input GST, the net GST payable to the government is available. That is rupees, in this problem, that is rupees 1,500. And how we have to calculate the payment of GST to the government? First we have to calculate the total input CGST and total input SGST. And after that we have to calculate the total output CGST and total output SGST. Now net GST payable. Formula is net CGST equals to output CGST minus input CGST. Then we will get the net GST, net CGST payable to the government. After that we have to calculate the net SGST, that is output SGST minus input SGST, that is rupees 750. So totally rupees 1,500 business has to pay to the government. Means here the input GST is used to set off against the output GST. Okay, this is the rule. I hope this example is clear to you all. If not, please leave a comment. Thank you.